I really didn't have much to come on here with. But yeah, I guess I really didn't come on. I didn't really prepare, I should say, prepare any words to come on here with this morning. The question has just been in my mind um, really since this weekend. We put it like this weekend because um, and I guess I should iterate the question. Are Chicago kids doomed? According to Charleston White, Chicago kids are doomed. Now, logically, one wouldn't believe that he believes all children in Cook County, Illinois, aka Chicago, are doomed because there's different circumstances for different individuals, and um, I've seen commentary because if you see my name, my YouTube channel, the title of my YouTube channel is the Niger Room, the nigger room. I am Flav Nigga, Flav Niger. Sometimes you might hear him mention my name, not often, but I mean that's not you know what that's not his job to mention my name, whatever. But are Chicago kids doomed? Let's get to it. So he recently had a issue with well, he didn't have an issue. Evidently this person Yellow something, this cat named Yellow somebody had an issue with him and had some commentary for him. So after, for the most part, and as we see that whenever someone comes from Charleston, for the most part, I'll say 99% accuracy, and the point, and the 1% is probably Kevin Gates. The situation he had with Kevin Gates. 99% of the time, he pretty much handles his work pretty quickly. But attached to that was the fact that, of course, King Yella. King Yella represents Chicago. Well, I guess he's in Vegas now, but he represents Chicago. He's represented for Chicago. And generally, I guess when you meet, I'm not from here. I live in Chicago. Well, me being specific, I live in the west suburbs because you have to be specific. I've lived here for just 2009, 2010, and I've seen I've seen all types of iterations. I think when I first moved up in here, that's when Rahm Emanuel became the mayor. And the first thing Rahm Emanuel did was close down a gang of schools. And most of these schools, you would think, from my remembrance, were in the black neighborhoods. So when you close down schools that are in primarily black enclaves, then those kids are going to have to go somewhere else to school. Spreading these children around in places that that in environments where they may not be socially compatible with others, I saw in the beginning was a problem. Now, I also must say that I'm not y'all. I'm nobody's out. I am beyond the years of playing gangster or being in any type of situation where I had to show how tough I am. I mean, I feel as if the fact that I lived past 25, when they said we were supposed to live past 25, that's enough of a no, that's enough evidence to prove that I guess I made some right choices, even in the midst of making wrong choices. But there, now we don't. I'm saying we. Now, I can't say we. The From what I've seen, these groups whether it be like I say, I'm not y'all up. I ain't got no smoke for nobody. I'm not trying to get nothing from y'all, and I ain't got necessarily nothing that y'all want. You know, uh, what in the groups he spoke about specifically, the gangster disciples and the BDs, the black disciples. I think that's what it is because I'm not in the loop. Most of the guys I knew were folks GDs or whatever. Now they don't necessarily refer themselves as gangs, even though the white man and the police might refer them to gangs. They refer themselves as organizations, and according to history, gangster disciples are no longer gangster disciples. Their name is supposed to be affiliated with growth and development. Now, like I said, I've been here 10 years, man. Now, one thing I've learned, I guess, when I first got here, I don't even know if I could say that the killing wasn't as bad, but I guess at that point I didn't necessarily notice because I was new, and I guess and I want to say that there's been changes since I've been here. Of course, there's been changes since I've been here. First of all, the school changes where they shut down all these schools. Um, Now, one thing I know, one thing I've learned from experience in living here is that it's whenever there's a forecast for a nice weekend, whenever the weather breaks or something like that, or the very first nice weekend, even though you may be excited that you can go out because it's cold up here a lot of times, most of the time. Even though you're excited on being able to go out and have a good time, um, if you have good sense, if you have foresight, then you know that as soon as a sunny day comes, a sunny weekend, a good clear weekend with activities and events planned, somebody gonna die. Somebody's gonna die. It's gonna be some killing. It's gonna be some shooting, or what have you. Now, you would expect, these are organizations, and I can't speak for what these organizations' rules and mandates and laws and things are. You would think that even in the course of decency, that children are off limits. But last year, and I mean, yeah, I guess we could say last year. Last year, there were a whole lot of children. There was quite a bit of children that were either shot or shot and killed. Now, I don't know whether these children, I mean, and according to some of the news reports I was reading at the time, these kids weren't necessarily involved in gangs or because these little kids. They're either in cars or either outside playing or whatever, and they just either got happened to hit by strays or what have you. So you have um you have that to go with as evidence. Now, aside from that, when the coronavirus came in the 2020, there was a pretty large infusion of cash courtesy of the federal government, and legally or illegally, the PPP loans and the enhanced employment benefits and the stimulus checks and things of that nature. And what was going on was there was even though people were on lockdown, there was still a lot of guns being bought. Now, one of the favorite things that since we're in a democratic city, as soon, and it goes all the way up to the federal government, because you got Master Biden, Joe Biden talking about, well, we got ghost guns and things, and we got to do something about these ghost guns and their danger, what have you, but in my opinion, a gun is a gun. You could throw ghosts on the front of it in order to try to emit some type of panic, but it is what it is. And the guns that are killing up in Chicago aren't necessarily ghost guns. So uh, so you have Charleston White. He comes out. He lives in Texas, and in all these past couple of years, it's been Charleston White versus the Bloods and Crips in California. And I guess he wasn't necessarily versus the whole state of California, but those Californians in California areas that are infested with gangs, such as the Bloods and the Crips. Now, as a follower of Charleston White, as a supporter of Charleston White, as a subscriber to his YouTube page and attached to his friend page and his Facebook page, his Instagram page. As I stated before, I'm a moderator on his YouTube page. I'm not an admin. I guess you could say I'm a moderator on his Facebook fan page. Add the Facebook Charleston White fan page on Facebook. So if you don't know about it, but I've been able to have the courtesy to witness, the commentary that goes on in the chats and in the comments, where all during the time where he was going in on California, there was also whispers talking about, well, you're always talking about Chicago, California and the Bloods and Crips, but there's also gang banging up in Chicago. Uh, During that time, if I remember, he said I'm not. I think he pretty much had just dismissed it. I'm not focused on Chicago right now. I'm talking about these gang bangers, and I don't. Pretty much, he said I don't know anything about them guys up there. I just can speak on the guys that I know that I know in Texas, because really, when you think about it, the whole situation where he went in on gangs started from when he was dealing with the gangs in his own city. Now, Mr. Charles's delivery is rough at times, but the roughness is used because it's effective. Now, many of you think of now, uh, like I say, I read comments because I am a moderator in the chat or whatever. A lot of times when this man comes on, and really he's not speak he don't know nobody specifically in the chat for the most part. When he comes on talking, he's seeking. His words are seeking. It's not necessarily that he's seeking a name. The words are seeking. The words are seeking the spirit. So when he came out and said, well, you Chicago kids are doomed because their mama and their daddy won't move. Now, we understand that it's not economically effective for everybody to, for people to just up and move in some cases. But we also know that uh, if your house is dirty, then if you have to, whether either you want a clean house or a dirty house, and if you've been residing in a dirty house and haven't and not lived and have grown to accept the fact that your house is dirty, then at the end of the day, you to someone who's not accustomed to being in the environment of a dirty house, for them to observe your ability to exist comfortably within that dirty house is perplexing to them, because it's like, well, I guess that the individual who might be observing may have come from a background or been socialized in the means and manner in which that they don't have to they haven't had to deal with the poverty and the violence and the dysfunction and the mental health issues that go on within certain enclaves in the city called Chicago. Because you think about it, it goes all the way back to the projects. Even though they've torn down most of the projects, the Robert Taylor homes, Cabrini Green, this, that, and the third, in downtown Chicago is pretty much becoming more gentrified. And that and what that does is that what that did was is it pushed people out. And by pushing people out, it pushed out the violence to other areas. So you can say on one end the crime and the violence pushed out to other areas. We can say on one end that the Chicago kids may be doomed, that some of the Chicago kids may be doomed due to the fact that they are caught up in situations and circumstances where there's violence brought upon them by those that are in their environment. But we also can say that these kids are also doomed themselves because they are influenced by those who pervade that violence and dysfunction and have those mental health issues. And what it does is it's transferred down to those groups, and it becomes somewhat of a generational thing. Now the problem with it becoming generational is that as the next generation comes along, there kind of is a well, this is from my perspective, and I guess it's logic. It's using logic. Logically, it would seem as if those individuals who are being influenced by those prior generations are going to want to outdo that generation. And pretty much how that occurs is that you know where there might have been a tad bit of compassion, there's less. Where there may have been maybe a six-shot revolver. My goodness, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It may have been like a revolver, little 9 millimeter with a few bullets in it. What it's evolved to now is high-powered military weapons that shoot multiple bullets at a time. So what that ends up doing is like, okay, you looking for your op, they're looking for their op, and when they shoot those guns off, those guns have spit out indiscriminate bullets, and those bullets may hit children, and those bullets may hit grown folks. But at the end of the day, those bullets weren't necessarily the target for those people who they hit, but nevertheless, they wound or kill them anyway. Now, I don't know what's going to happen, how effective, I mean, and Charleston would tell you he don't come on here to give no message. He comes on here to seek to seek in whom he may devour, you know, for the most who and once again, like I say, he don't necessarily go looking for nobody. He puts his words in the atmosphere, and those words touch a spirit. And whether those words touch the spirit in a negative or positive way always pretty much reflects in the way that the responses come. Now I'm sitting here talking to y'all, and I don't necessarily, I admire Mr. Charleston. I'm a supporter of Mr. Charleston. I feel as if Charleston, me encountering Charleston in this internet space has somehow, I don't know if I guess I could say has improved my manner of thinking on many things, and kind of reminding me of some things that I had forgotten in regards to being a man, period, not necessarily a black man, just being a man, period. But I had a daddy. My father. He was in the street. He was a street guy, whatever. He was a hustler. But that's nothing for me to brag about. So I can still say I had a father, and I still had male influences in my life. But when you see somebody that that speak logically, that speaks he speaks that he say I'm an ignorant nigga playing smart. I think I would go to say that's a smart nigga playing ignorant. That would be the better way for. I think a lot of y'all have problems with. I think that'd be a better way for y'all to be able to digest or get a better understanding of what y'all look at and what y'all listen at. When he said these things, because he went on for hours, and I'm not playing. I'm not going to go on for hours with this. I really just came on and asked the question, and in my little meager channel, I'm pretty much non-existent. Maybe I guess I could take the easy way out and get to attacking folks. But as we've learned, that might get you a little boost for a minute, but you still got to come with something afterwards. And I'm not. You look at my channel and see quite a few videos that speak positively of Charleston, and now one of them has went over 2,000. But you can get cats that have something negative to say about you, want to cuss Charles, not want to talk about Charles, want to steal Charles and a little bit of Charles content, and they get the 10,000s and the 12,000, 20,000s and shit. I mean, I ain't gonna lie and say that don't frustrate me because hell, you would think that um, being fair about it, playing the game fair with it, you know, speaking honestly about your perception of someone and your perception of what they said, what they say in a way that is flattering. You would think that would gain more traction, but of course, who am I fooling to say negativity always runs further than positivity? But I'm getting off topic with that. I don't know how further the discussion is going to continue on the Rio Charleston Y YouTube channel or wherever else in regards to the city of Chicago. I do know for a fact that Mr. Charleston has helped it, has sent resources to this city, and has never and according to him has never visited the city. I also am confused about how people get upset when the man makes an observation about what he sees based on the evidence of the city. How you're ready to say you can't come to Chicago, or you gonna get yours, or this, that, and third, all these little threats and stuff. Because like I said, I be in the chat and I see the threats. And I don't understand why it is that this man all the way down in Texas can get these type of threats, but meanwhile there's death and destruction in our in I guess I could say our city, because like I said, I've been here 10 years and I got my voter registration card and all that good shit. But you got people. I read people talking about I'm done with this guy. I'm quitting the channel. I'm not going to. I'm not following anymore. I'm not watching any more videos, stuff like that. I mean, hell, this man has cussed out every manner of people, entity, whatever. But what it took for you to leave, I guess you Chicago resident, what it took for you to leave is for him to tell the truth from his perspective based on the evidence he has in regards to, as we all know, all you have to do is pretty much look at the paper. I mean, hell, it was almost a tornado on Saturday, but yet still there still managed to be 2 shootouts in the city. And what makes it worse is it's not even summer yet. It hasn't even really got hot to be a nice day yet. And now that the mandates are being raised and all these people being inside, they about to go outside this summer. And it's not necessarily. And you got to also couple with the fact that Gas prices is high. Inflation is high. Um, and just using logic. Because I get my bud, whatever, regardless. But in regards to other drugs, the supply, just like the supply chain is messed up on certain foods and things like that, the supply chain is kind of messed up on the drugs, the heavy drugs in the city. Then you also have the issue with the fentanyl being placed in some of these drugs. So I guess that's part of the death and the dysfunctional death that occurs in this city. So when I say these things, I say them to say that it's this summer gonna be hot, and not necessarily in the term in the temperature. Speaking on temperature wise, it's about to be a hot ass summer. It's about to be some shit in this city, and I myself, and I would also advise others to stay the fuck out the way. I mean, even though you can do your best to stay out the way, but when you're dealing, like I said, when you're dealing with those aforementioned high-power weapons that shoot multiple bullets, it's people that be in their houses and be inside their brick covered dwellings, and still have to worry about the bullets coming through. But yeah, I think I done talk. Like I said, I'm a small fledgling channel. I just wanted to come on with a question. I really hoped to one day get to the point where I can have the type of page and feed where I could actually entertain chats and discussions when I come on. That way, I won't have to feel as if I'm fishing for thoughts and sentences to come next. Even though I can pretty much talk shit as much as I want. I'm sitting there holding my little blunt that I want to smoke. But is Mr. Charleston right? Is Charleston White right about, we'll just say, some Chicago kids are doing? And if he isn't right, then how would you care to explain how he's wrong? That being said, man, I'm not even gonna say, if you like what you saw, if you like my little conversation, y'all know what to do on these channels. You on YouTube, what do you do to YouTube channels you like? I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna be the one to big and all that type of shit. I'm just gonna keep on doing what I do and building, working on my arc. But the question is Charleston right about the kids in Chicago? Thoughts, questions, comments? Peace to the nigga nation or nothing. Haha.